Call to order the Torch Lake Township regular board meeting of January 18th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Please join me in saying the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you everyone for coming out on a snowy night. Let's review the housekeeping items as we always do. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming. And I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to the microphone. There will be two opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections. I would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. For the record, Policy 2.0 has specific guidelines for the citizens addressing the board and its individual members. No name calling or personal attacks, no shouting, abusive, threatening, or disparaging language will be accepted. Engaging in this type of conversation will require the supervisor to request the individual to return to their seat. I have allowed a wide interpretation of these items, but have received feedback to monitor comments more closely. I will try to do that going forward. I respect everyone's time. I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comment section. Sometimes this is difficult, but this is not a debating stage between the citizens and board members. We have township business to conduct and it is required that we do that effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to that individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may and will look differently to reflect the actual action taken by the board. And with that, first item of business, approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve, but I forgot to put on the agenda the January 12th, 2022 special meeting we had. If there's no objection, we can review the minutes, and when approving the agenda, we can add it to the item as necessary. Any objection?
I have no objection.
All right.
No.
So the first one we will approve. Are there any changes to the minutes for the regular board meeting of December 21st, 2021? I have none.
I have some.
All right. Sharon?
New business, line 1. Proposed dates for the 2022 regular board meeting, not the 2021. We talked about that. And second page. E, under agenda. Let me see whereabouts it is. It's under number 1. 3/4 of the way over. It says S. Schultz, voice discussion items. And I would like a period underneath that, after that items, and scratch off to support such a position because I really never stated it. I was still in board discussion.
Yeah, you were not making a decision.
No, so I would like to say Schultz, voice discussion items, period.
Yep.
And remove to support such a position. That was never my intent and never stated. And that's the only changes I have on this particular board, regular minutes.
All right. Alan, any comments?
I did, but I grabbed the wrong set of material. I had 2 sets there and I grabbed the one. I was in a hurry. I'll let it go. I'll leave it as it is.
All right, Jason?
No.
All right, Kath?
No.
All right. I will make the motion to approve the December 21 regular board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of December 21st, 2021 with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next item. We had a special meeting on January 12th to go through the payroll schedule, pay schedule for 22-23. Any changes to that? Kath, Sharon?
I do. I'm not sure if this is probably okay, but I just wanted to point it out. The very first line is to review of primary purpose, but it doesn't state what the primary purpose is. Although if you read, you have to read the whole minutes to know what the primary purpose is. Should we put anything there? That's just a comment.
We could just say to discuss the 22-23 pay schedule.
Okay. And then I'm going down to number 3. 1, 2, 3, fourth line where it starts with S. Schultz. And it says S. Schultz requests amount for the assessor should be reflected as, it's got 25, it looks like 2,500 or 25,000, which is the contract price. That's incorrect. It should reflect 2,500 on payroll schedule and cross off which is the contracted price. That's not correct. Does that make
Well,
sense?
Well, it's not, I don't see 25,000, but I see the 2,500. There's just not a.
There's no
comma.
comma in there.
Yeah, that's fine. Put a comment.
But it says which is the contracted price. So that's what's deceiving. It's not the contracted price.
What is it?
We have a contract out there, but this is part of the payroll schedule.
So this is the employee status?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I had to reflect as 2,500 on payroll schedule, because that's what we're discussing with the payroll schedule. And it's which is contracted price should not be there because we
Got it.
talked about that this is
Yep.
subsidiary of that.
All right.
Does that make sense? And then I'm going down to the same page under, I don't know, that's all under 3, I guess.
Yep.
Almost to the end, right before B, the line before B, it says, S. Schultz mentioned that other townships pay per diem and asked if this would be, it's other townships either have a salary or a per diem. So it's not like all other townships have a per diem. I don't want that implied. Sharon Schultz mentioned that other townships pay trustees a salary or a per diem.
Well, but you were asking him if the per diem might be something he would
But
appreciate.
but if you read that comment, it says Schultz mentions that other townships pay trustees per diem. So it's like that's the only thing. And in my comments during that segment, I said they pay either a salary or a per diem. This implies that it's only a per diem in my world of looking at it.
So what's the correction?
I would say pay after trustee, put a salary or and then the per diem. So a salary or and then fill in that area there. And then ask if this would be something that he could consider. So that's my comments there. On the back side of this page, about right in the middle, it's got under trustees there, that section, it's got J. Martell instead of A. Martell. Nice sneaky little eyes. And then at the bottom, under board comment, under Sharon Schultz, the first word reviewed, I didn't review it, I watched it. So take the word reviewed out, and I stated I watched the recent Zoom, not reviewed it, I watched it. And then going down farther, it says our auditors, in the third line sentence there, it says our auditors was the top expert. Well, it should read our auditors were on the list. They weren't the top experts because their name is B, it starts at the top.
Our auditor was,
On the list, period. Our auditor was on the list, not was the top expert. Take that word off of there. And then the next line down where it says this year BSNA requires that our chart of accounts, it should be this year BSNA requires the state's new chart of accounts. We already have a chart of accounts. We're trying to implement the new state chart of accounts. So this year BSNA required that the state's new, so take the word our out and put the state's new. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, hearing none, I will make the motion to approve the January 12th, 2022 special board meeting minutes as presented with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second those with changes.
It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of January 12th, 2022 as presented with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is correspondence and announcements. Kathy?
I have nothing to share.
All right, thank you. All right, approval of agenda content. I've got two items. I would like to go back, as mentioned earlier, that we add up under approval of minutes to special board meeting January 12th, 2022. And under informational purpose only, remove the update on the scanning project. The reason for that was that I thought she wanted to discuss the project results so far, which they are tabulating. And actually, she was talking about the budget. We're not going to do the budget yet, so that would come off. Any other changes by the board?
I have none.
All right. I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It is moved and seconded that the agenda accepted as presented with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Next item on the agenda will be the citizen comment. Please respect the 4-minute limit. Also, board, as a reminder, this is not citizen debate. Board members can respond during the final board comment section of the agenda. I know Jairus,
I have
submitted.
Jairus, and I think Sheriff Bean and Bob Spencer.
All right, that's fine, Jairus. We'll let you start off.
Yeah, just your county update. If anybody knows of anybody, we lost our mechanic, Bob White. He died about a month ago. And the chairman has informed me that so far we're having a hard time finding a good applicant to take his place. He did a really good job for us. I know he did some work on some emergency equipment for Torch Lake here too. So we may have to redo the job description for that position because it was kind of created with him in mind, but it's flexible. So right now we're just looking for any good mechanic applicant, and the chairman has stated that he's willing to relook at the job qualifications and description if we find a good candidate. Antrim County Road Commission, our road projects for 2022, redoing Atwood Road from 31 to the village of Ellsworth. The state and the feds are going to help us cover the cost of that because that was used as a detour while they were redoing 31 here this year. The total cost of that project is $1,032,000. And then redoing West Limits Road, including Del Mason, Schoolcraft, Batchelder. It's over by Shanty Creek. And last year we had a couple meetings with State Representative Ken Borton and Senator Wayne Schmidt, and we actually got it included in the state budget. So we got $2 million in the state budget. It's going to cost just a little bit more than that, but the vast majority of it is going to be covered by the state. And the main update for 2023 is redoing Eddy School Road. And Kearney Township has been saving their allocation to help redo that road for a couple years now. So hopefully next year we can get that done. Also with the final rules being implemented and released regarding the ARPA funding, we're looking at maybe we could use some of our county ARPA dollars to fix some additional roads in Antrim County. So it sounds like a couple townships may be wanting to use some for that too. It's ongoing discussion, but at least we've got the final rule now. It's really long. I've got the shortened version is 28 pages long. So anyway, that's my update. Yeah.
I'm glad you talked about the ARPA because I was going to ask you what the county plan is on the ARPA going forward. You may not be on that committee or something, or if do they even have a committee working on that?
No, we don't have a committee, but we've talked about it a few times as a board. The two things that keep coming up are internet and roads. Those are the two top ones that keep being brought back up. So we contracted with, I forget the name of the company, but they're doing a internet study because Great Lakes put TrueStream through with a lot of their power lines in Antrim County, but Consumers Energy did not. So we've got spots in the county that have really good internet, and then we have spots where it's really bad. So we're supposed to be getting the copy of the survey, the internet survey, which we spent like $25,000 to get. We're supposed to get that in the next 60 days.
I don't want to compare county to county, but last night I was in a meeting in Kalkaska County, had started a commission for the ARPA money, and there's 12 townships in Kalkaska Township. We have 15 in Antrim here, but they have a citizen where they're meeting at the commissioner's room, and they're actually involving the citizens and with the ARPA money in the county. And the announcement last night was that Kalkaska commissioners were offering $25,000 to each and every single township to spend as they needed also. I'm not comparing, but I'm just asking if Antrim has any commission to start to looking at involving the community at all, or that's only a comment. You don't need to respond to it, so.
All right, thanks.
Put you right on the spot there,
But
didn't I?
no, we haven't put a committee together, and I think that's probably good food for thought.
And that's just one of many counties, obviously, through the state that have involved the community type of thing. So I didn't know if one has been started yet or if they plan on it, so. All right,
All right,
thank you.
thanks. Sheriff?
A little warmer down there, isn't it, Mike? Real quick, I got the year end for Court Lake for 2021, and I wanted to compare that to 2020 for you. Just real quick. 911 checks, you had 201 for the year of 2021. For the year of 2020, you had 167. Someone, we talked about animal bites were the same, they were 4 and 4. And control complaints were the same, they were 15 and 15. B&Es in progress were 1 and 1, and then not in progress, you had 3 in 2020, you only had 1 in 21. Car deer accidents were a couple more, you had 41, you had 39 in 2020. A couple more, Alan, have gone there for you, so.
I have some comments to make on
Talked
that.
before.
Go ahead.
Fireworks, there were 2 more compared to 20. You had 5 in 2021, you had 3 in 2020. Larcenies were 5 and 5. Marine Patrol complaints, there was 21 in 2021, there were 12 and 20. Stopped for 19 and 21, there were 17 in 2020. Medical calls were up a bit, they were 144, 114 in 2020. Personal injury accidents were down, excuse me. There were 13 PIAs in 2021, there were 20 in 2000, I'm sorry, there were 22 in 2020. So the other one we talked about is traffic stops, and they were down significantly at 47. You had 70 in 2020. Total calls to service for 2021 were 915. In 2020, they were 936. Alan, you have a comment about?
Well, I looked at that 41 and I just said, what's that worth, in terms of damage, in terms of money, not considering any kind of injury. But just a very odd little aside. I've been hunting since I've been 11 years old. And this year, we've slowed up taking deer at our place just because of, we get 1 deer, and if I get 20 pounds of venison, that's been pretty good. This year, one of our hunters took a deer and made a leg roast in what's called a sous vide water bath. I had never heard of this before. I want to tell the public, this was the finest piece of meat I've ever had in my life. And I've had very fine meat. And I said, they think of the people that say, well, I don't want to hunt. I don't like the way it tastes. You got to doctor it all up before it tastes good, et cetera, et cetera. No, you don't. Not with this. It was absolutely phenomenal. In fact, I believe that if people hunted, they'd realize how good a venison can be, plus the fact that the calories from a serving of venison of fat is only 10%, whereas, bacon well done is 40%. So if you're trying to cut your fat content, and it was very good meat. It wasn't gamey. It was extremely tasty. It was done medium rare, by the way. And the sous vide pasteurizes the entire meat product. I was totally impressed. I'm not, I cooked, I had a restaurant, I did all that stuff. And restaurants have apparently been using this for a long time. So anyway, Sheriff, if you ever need a demonstration to get people to hunt more, I would absolutely do it. I really would. I'm enthused about this because I'd like to get these 41 deer off of US 31, at least in our township.
I don't know what to say.
It,
Sounds good.
Sheriff, it only comes from Alan.
I know,
There's
I know.
just nothing
And
we
he
can
does
do.
it every time just to do that.
Just to you.
And I did mention to you, I had a couple comments or questions, I guess. The word alarm, there's alarm, plain alarm, then there's like fire alarm, and then there's like medical alarm. And what is the plain alarm?
That would be like an alarm that gets set off for maybe over here on the lakeside of Michigan, where you get the wind blowing and that alarm goes off. It's unfounded.
Okay,
That's the only thing I can tell you. Fire alarms are set off. Maybe I would use the example of metal work or something. I'm just giving an example where they have to pull fire alarm goes off. They're
Okay.
designated, and I'm not sure how it's designated, but I know some of the alarm companies are designated that way. It's a fire alarm, or it's a medical alarm, medical alert alarm. They can push the button. It's the only thing I can tell you.
okay. Larceny, what was larceny a year ago? It's 5 now.
5 and 5. They
Okay.
were the same.
They're
That's just stealing stuff.
Okay, right. And then when I look at my notes on here with the X here, it says traffic stops. I know that was really down.
Yes.
That's 3.92 a month. We're talking about police protection in this community. And so stats are going down. That's why I just thought if you had any comments on,
That covers state also. Understand, that's just not the county. That's also, if it's a state police area, that's all traffic stops that were made. You're talking anything and everything from headlights out to whatever, they're not designated out. So they are down. That's the only thing I can tell you. I don't have an answer
Okay.
why.
I found that interesting when I was looking
Yeah.
back at my notes from prior
Yep.
years
And
also.
if you've been around long enough, you know
I
that
know.
these stats change
Mhm.
dramatically. It's depending on the years and what's going on.
And the year end is, got everything versus a
Yes.
monthly, you might not have
Right.
half of these on
Correct.
there,
That's
so.
correct.
The year end gives you just about anything that open door, I don't know
Right.
what an open door is, but,
Sally, somebody probably found an open door, maybe went by and saw a door open on a
Oh,
house.
okay.
Or somebody called in and said, went by Jarvis Rubings and the door was open and nobody was around. so we
paper
got out.
service and,
Yep,
you
there's
know,
all kinds of stuff that gets put
yeah.
into that. So.
and so when a call comes in, they categorize their own way or they put it in their
This
slot?
goes into CAD, it goes into a
Yeah,
computer-aided
right.
dispatch.
I know what the
That's I can
CAD
tell you.
is
If it gets
there.
called in as a fire alarm, it gets set up as a fire alarm.
Okay, well, that was just my comments.
Nope.
Thank you.
Real
Nice-
quick, if I.
nice to
if I
see
can-
you.
just-
Absolutely.
Just real quick, personnel wise, we kind of had a conversation before the
Yep.
meeting. We're actually going to be back to 5 probably in the May. We hired a gentleman by the name of Michael Godfrey who came out of West Branch. His wife is she's doing residency at Munson, so they had to move. We picked him up here in December. No, I apologize. November, right at the end of November, we picked him up. He just now got out on his own yesterday, as a matter of fact. So that's one more body we got out there on the roads for us. We hired a gentleman by the name of Lawrence Porter. He actually had been working down by Shelby, Flint area, somewhere in there. His wife works with the airplanes, airports. There we go. So they were over in. Ended up moving a while back into Pennsylvania. She wants to get back to Traverse City area. We hired him. He just started actually this week. So he's got about 20 years plus experience. So
Great.
It's going to be a great asset for us.
I said, great.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a question. So that's another one. And then we sent three to school. We've sponsored 3 of them. We took them all out of Marine Patrol, so we knew their backgrounds, knew their work ethic. We paid for their schooling, and what'll happen is they're on a 5-year contract to stay with us. And each year, if they left early, for each year, they would be paid back to the county. So there's 3 of them going there. They'll give us the 5 of the 6 or 7 that we're down right now with road patrols. Hopefully, sometime about July or about August, we'll be having almost a full boat. I got a young lady that called, and she's going to graduate. I think it's from Traverse sometime in May, and we may end up picking her up also. We'll see how that goes. So we're moving forward with those. Dispatch, Corey LaCour, who was the lead dispatcher, or what I refer to as a corporal, he just resigned and went to Grand Traverse County to work. He's actually there as assistant director over there. So he's left. So we're down 2 in dispatch, which has been better than what it had been in the past. We've been doing pretty good holding our own there. And corrections is still at level, so we're doing well. Last year, all our patrol units got new 800 radios put in them. The budget had been approved by the commissioners, and we moved forward on that project. That included all the police departments also. So that was done. These radios were put in, the old radios were put in 2007. So they were quite old, and as you know, with computers, that's about what they are. They were literally shutting themselves down as while the guys were on patrol, which is not normally a good thing. So we rectified that problem. We're getting ready to do the dual pagers, the 800 and the VHF together. We have one more department, unless Sergeant Gank got to him today. We had one more department on the MOU to get out there and get signed, and then we'll have those programmed and done and out there. So that's one more thing off our plate. The 800 paging, Banks Township and Elmira are the 2 that have been like a pilot program for us for the 800s, and it's been really going very well. As you know, we've had a voice quality problem in this county for years, and we've been trying to get it rectified. It looks like the 800s are going to do that for us. And the only other thing is the Orchard Hill Tower. This year, the 911 board is moving forward to get that tower replaced. We had to jump through some hoops for FAA and also for the Township, Forestholm Township, to get that approved. But they're going to go down just under 200 foot. It's about 199-foot tower, which is really going to help us with quality down, especially in the Central Lake and part of different Bel Air and even over this way a little bit in Banks Township. So I want to get done in my 4 minutes. Sorry, Bob. So.
That's all right.
I have a quick, I like to recognize people. And as you know, thank you for keeping the VSU, the Victim Service Unit going. We always need more volunteers, so spread the word still there. especially on this side of the county. And I don't know how many of the board or in the public knows that our own very Ted Schroeder is active on the 911 board. So,
Yeah, Ted represents ACES from the board is what he represents, and County Emergency Services.
right. So we want to make sure that he's recognized for his service there too. So that's,
Thank you.
Sheriff, I have one other question.
What year is it?
When you have, if you're say in Elk Rapids and you make a 911 call, does dispatch automatically look for the Elk Rapids Police Department as opposed to a county car?
Depends on where it's at. It's the nearest car concept.
Okay,
So if they have a village car on, if it's in the village would go. If it's in the county would go. And also depending on how close it is to that village line, we cross deputize. So our all the village police officers, I'll get it out of my mouth, I apologize, are cross deputized to handle those things, that they can hold the fort down until we get there.
sure, okay, thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you for giving the township the warning that there's going to be more police officers on the road this summer, and I'm
I did that
assuming,
for Alan's start.
I'm
I want to be clear.
I'm assuming the traffic tickets are going to go up at somewhere mid-year, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I made a comment, I think earlier, I don't know if it was yourself or somebody else, but, this department's got very young. Either they're not getting very old, which is probably both in all honesty. Our department is about 3 years and under now. About 3/4 of our department is 3 years and under now. I'm the last of what I call the dinosaurs, with myself, and then Dean Pratt came in about 90, 91. He's the undersheriff, and it drops down to Kevin Hope, who came in 96. So it's an interesting concept on where our department has gone from everybody aging out, if you will, or retiring, and that's why we ended up in the issues we had. Everybody kind of bailed out within a couple of years apart. So trying to get people together, especially in the environment we work in now, it's different. So
All right, thanks, Sheriff.
thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Let's see, Mr. Spencer.
Well, happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.
Bob Spencer, 709 Northwest Torch Lake Drive. As many of you know, I was involved in an extensive policy initiative. I have some comments due to some questions I've been asked since then. One of the questions, common ones, has been, what's an administrative guideline? And what's an administrative policy? And what's the difference? And so I quickly put something together this afternoon. So I'm going to read this to stay focused and be quick. So board or administrative policies, they get called both, are statements which set forth purposes and describe in general terms Torch Lake Township and the services it provides to constituents. So purposes and services. Policies describe what is and what is not wanted. They may indicate why something's happening or how much it's going to happen. They're broad enough to allow administrative discretion for the people in the field who have to interpret the policies. They're specific enough to give clear guidance, and they help township officials and staff members chart future action. So what's an administrative guideline or procedure? That they get called both. They're detailed directions developed by the board and staff members regarding how to best put the board policies into place. Guidelines provide details that help officials and staff carry out to enforce the policies. They set forth specific requirements. They may list do's and don'ts. They may provide step-by-step procedures or recipes like a cookbook. They may assign specific responsibilities that the clerk is going to do X and the trustees are going to do Y. And they tell where, when, how, and by whom things are done. But they don't tell why, which is up in the policy section here, if you notice. Okay, that said, a brief history of Torch Lake Township's policies and guidelines. Michigan became a state in 1837. Antrim County came into existence officially in 1840. Torch Lake Township was created shortly thereafter in the 1840s. I couldn't get a specific year. Zoning ordinances were first approved by Torch Lake Township in May of 1984. And Torch Lake Township's board adopted its first comprehensive set of board policies in December of 2021. So township formed in the 1840s. In December of 2021, you got your first set of policies. Now, you've had policies, you've had things you call policies. I'm telling you, that was the first set of policies you really put in place. Okay, so what? Some thoughts for the future. Torch Lake Township's board began developing a comprehensive set of policies in 2007. In 2020, a renewed policy development effort began. On December 21st of 2021, Torch Lake Townships approved the township's new comprehensive set of policies, and it will serve as your framework for future planning, which is its purpose. My personal recommendations, I've not talked to anybody anywhere about these. Policies are a living document that must evolve with the changing environment. Board and staff members should be trained to understand and implement the policies. They're important. Due to changes in law, operations, and workforce factors, the board should require an annual review and update of the policies by the township's municipal attorney. Good written policies help the township board and staff members make and enforce better decisions, however difficult the circumstances. Use your policies. They historically have not been used much. That's pretty obvious. Thank you for your dedicated efforts to help build and renew and approve a new set of policies. I appreciate being involved. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right, if not, all right, if not, we will
I can
move
pass it
on.
down if you want.
We'll just pass them out, Bob.
He's a teacher, he can't help it.
I know. We have a few teachers here.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Veronica, did he give you one?
Anyone want to pull any reports? Hearing none, all reports will be accepted by consent then. We'll move forward. Special reports. Jason?
Yeah, last week at the planning commission meeting, we had two special use permit requests that we heard, had a public meeting on, and then after the public meeting, we discussed it. And the first one was for 31 scoops, and the planning commission felt like the application wasn't filled out quite enough for us to be able to make a decision. So they're going to work on getting us more information. And the second request was for Lake Living Services up there at the M88, the resale shop. And after going through all the standards and requirements, it met all of them, so we passed that. And we weren't able to get to the high water mark, so it looks like we're going to be discussing that next month.
All right, thank you. Kathy, FOIA update.
I haven't been able to say this in a long time, but there are no open FOIAs at this time. Now, that's not an invitation, just saying, but everything is caught up at this point in time.
All right, great. Thanks. The finance report, you have the finance numbers in the package. As I've indicated in the past, the detailed financial report will be on the website. Any questions regarding the financials can be directed either to myself or the clerk's office. We have begun receiving the winter tax receipts, and they are reflected in the December numbers. The treasurer's report indicates a balance in the general fund of $949,000, fire fund 403, the ambulance fund 370, and the road fund 187. We are in the midst of putting our budgets together for 22-23. I've done a quick look at what the next 2.5 months on an average basis, and I think we should be pretty close to maintaining that overall $2 million balance in the township, with the respective funds being relatively close to where we ended the last fiscal year. There hasn't been really any other major changes that I need to bring out. So again, if you want any extra information, give me a call or give Kathy a call.
Bob,
Yeah.
included in that fund balance is that ARPA money we have in there too.
Well, yeah.
That's correct, but not everybody might not understand that. So that's in the total balance there of the ARPA money.
We weren't going to let you keep that in a secret
No,
place.
well.
No. All right. Agenda for board action. We have no old business. Moving to item number 1, which is the adoption of the pay schedule for 22-23. We had the meeting last Wednesday night. We went through it. There were a couple of changes. As agreed, I worked with Kevin related to probational firefighter pay and worked on the following proposal with Kevin. Sharon contacted me and wanted to modify that proposal, and in the green shaded area, that proposal was the creation of a new role called a support staff with a starting pay of $12 per hour. We would like to move the probational personnel from the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And then we would like to move that individual as they proceed obtaining their certificates to a firefighter 1 to $17.50. Then when they achieve firefighter 2, they would then achieve the $20 rate per hour. So that was a change that was discussed. We can have that discussion in a minute. There is one error on there, and it's the recording secretary. It shows $50 per meeting. That should be $50 per hour. Oh, Eagle Eye Sharon found that again. So, board comment on, well, I'll let the fire chief first. If you want to make a comment about those changes, are you supportive of those?
Yeah, I'm very much supportive of the changes.
Okay, great. Thoughts, board?
Was it on the elected officials, it was 4% or 3?
4,
4, thank you.
Yeah.
So I want to know.
okay. But you okay with the firefighter change?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jason, any thoughts on that?
No, we're getting there.
Well, hey, baby steps, right? Baby steps. Kathy?
No.
No, Sharon?
Thank you for letting me talk to you about my concerns on that. So you've addressed it, so I'm satisfied with adding that other in there. Thank you.
All right, then I will make the motion to approve the Torch Lake Township pay schedule for the fiscal year of 22-23 as presented. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the Torch Lake Township pay schedule for the fiscal year of 22-23 as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Since there is no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, board, thank you. Moving to item number 2. The next 4 items relate to the salaries of the elected officials. The board will make a resolution, vote on it, and those recommendations will then be presented at the annual meeting on March 15th for the township citizens to vote on it. So I will make the motion to approve Resolution 2022-01 for the treasurer's salary for the fiscal year of 22 through 23 at $30,000. Do I have a second?
A second.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution of number 2022-01 for the treasurer's salary for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 at $30,000. Any further discussion related to the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, would you conduct a roll call vote on that, please?
I will. My name is listed first, so I will say yes. Schultz,
Yes.
Martell,
Yes,
Cook,
Yes.
and Merchant.
Yes.
Therefore, that resolution is approved 5-0.
All right.
I was looking at this motion.
Well,
Yeah,
then it
you're
goes
looking at
with
one
this
thing.
one, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
over here.
Gotcha.
All right, we'll go to item number 3. I will make the motion to approve the resolution number 2022-02 for the clerk's salary for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 at $27,550. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution number 2022-02 for the clerk's salary for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 at $27,550. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
I will. My name is first again. I will say yes.
Yeah, all of them.
Schultz,
Yes.
Martell,
Yes,
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Merchant.
Yes.
So that resolution number 2 is approved 5-0.
Item number 4. I make the motion to approve the resolution number 2022-03 for the trustee salary for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 at $6,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I'll
All right.
second it.
All right, motion has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution number 2022-03 for the trustee salary for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 at $6,000. Any further discussion related to the motion?
I just, the thing do we need to talk here, or do we talk at the annual meeting, why this is more than 4% over the current wages for the trustee? I think it's a legitimate discussion. Do we do that now, or do we do that later?
I wouldn't think so because we already had that discussion. We approved the salary levels, and if I remember correctly, you voted for this, so I would suggest.
Oh,
that
yeah,
we
I
move
did,
it.
I did, I did.
So let's move it to the annual meeting.
Okay,
Like
that
this
would be,
said,
again, just to let the public know who were not watching that previous meeting when we had that, went over it. There was some reasoning and some thinking with regard to the wages of the trustee that Jason brought up. And so this is a little more than 4% over the current wages, and we can talk about that at the annual meeting.
That's the place we'll do it. All right, no further discussion. Kathy, please conduct a roll call vote.
Okay, I'm first. I will say
Same.
yes. Schultz,
Well, yes.
trustees now, right? Martell,
Yes,
Cook,
Yes.
and Merchant.
Yes.
Therefore, resolution 03 is approved 5-0.
And it already states that on there.
All right, item number 5, I make the
Oh.
motion to approve the budget amendment to approve the resolution number 2022-04 for the supervisor's salary for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 at $30,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the budget amendment for resolution number 2022-04 for the supervisor's salary for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 at $30,000. Any discussion related to the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Windy 8, yes. Schultz,
Yes.
Martell,
yes,
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Merchant.
Yes.
Yes, that Number 04 is passed 5-0.
There was a lot of 2022, 2023s in those pages. Jeez.
Yes, there were.
All right, we'll move to item 6, amendment to the zoning ordinance. This is related to changes of the zoning ordinance for commercial and village business. I hope you've had a chance to read the red line version with the changes and then the clean copy so that it's easier to follow. With that, I will ask Sarah to come up and give us a high-level overview and also include the broadness of the discussion by the PC members.
Sure, so I won't take up too much time. I was here last month and kind of gave you a heads up. This was coming along and the planning commission had been talking about it. This started because of the moratorium that the board adopted in September. And so the planning commission took that and took a look at the village business district and the commercial district, made a couple of changes. The biggest change you'll see is in the village business. They are proposing to change any structure or use that's larger than 3,000 square feet is a special use permit instead of being just a site plan review. So that special use permit gives the township the ability to schedule the public hearing. What requires the township to schedule a public hearing prior to making a decision, and also allows for some additional standards and scrutiny by the planning commission for those applications. There's also a similar but larger threshold in the commercial district that was added, along with a few kind of site development standards, which I mentioned at last month's meeting, just because our ordinance is kind of silent on some of the landscaping and dumpster screening and, items like that to help keep the neighborhood looking good, especially in our village business districts. Those also allow for the residential component in the village business. And so we need to protect those neighborhoods and the residential uses there. So I don't know if anybody has any questions for me related to this amendment. You have the information here. The Planning Commission recommended approval and Antrim County as well recommended approval.
Can you, how does this affect Eastport Market?
Eastport Market is there. It exists.
Grandfathered?
I don't, it's still allowed as a special use for that size. So I don't think it would have any impact.
So if they wanted to go larger, though, they would have to go to that special use again?
Right.
All right.
To add on.
Do you happen to know what their square footage is?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I know at the planning commission, it was mentioned, I'm going to say
18?
Sean's right behind you.
15.
15.
Yeah, I was gonna say
15,000?
about 15.
Okay.
I was going to guess 15, but I couldn't remember.
Which is the existing maximum.
Okay, thank you.
That's with the addition on, sent over and
Right.
above the original.
Any other questions?
Can some of this still be tweaked?
Minor language can, but any substantive changes would require a new public hearing. So if it's kind of a typo or something like that, we can deal with it. If it's less restrictive than what's on the ordinance, there's more flexibility to not get to a public hearing. But, the town, or the, not to get too far off base, but we have the subcommittee working on the rewrite of the zoning ordinance. So this language will get put into the updated zoning ordinance. So the planning commission will be looking at it again, the same language. And so if there's a couple of things that you might want to, we can talk about at the planning commission level.
Well, I'm just like, for instance, the roof, the pitch and, I mean, we really, I know we talked about it, but I just feel like being in the planning commission, like, it was like rush to get it done before that January 6th meeting. And that's why I'm asking, can this be tweaked at all after it's done?
Right. You could go less restrictive with that, or if the board can, they could remove that portion of it. The board could.
Okay.
But I know that's something the planning commission wanted to come back to anyways.
My questions were how the new implementing of the zoning ordinance is going to apply to this, and I think you just stated that.
Yeah, so this language would get brought into the new, well, it's kind of an updated reformatting more so than big change in any policy. So this language would come into that and would be subject, I guess, to any review and comments. So, but this is where it would start. We would start with this language that's being adopted tonight, or proposed to be adopted tonight.
Okay.
Jason, to your point, I sat through those meetings and I thought the planning commission went through this at a pretty good level, a lot of discussion. And I would not hesitate on your part to bring it back up once it gets back to the planning commission from the rewrite.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was talked about quite a bit, but
All right.
I was under the impression that it could be tweaked later on, so.
Yep. All right. So any other questions for Sarah? If not, then,
Sarah, I'll ask my typical question about a summary that I can send to the newspaper.
Yes,
If,
absolutely.
if we in fact approve it right now.
Yes, I can get you that.
Thank you.
And that's what I was going to make a comment on, but Kathy kind of interjected because I didn't want to step on any toes, but I was going to ask if this is all approved, I know it needs to get in the paper right away, if what I wrote up here is if the zoning administration can handle this synopsis and get it in the paper, because our clerk will be on vacation next week, and it'll be a big relief off of her if this can get done.
Well, Sarah's been very good about getting it to me like tomorrow or the next day, and I will send it to the newspaper immediately. So I can't think of any reason it won't be in the paper next Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I can help you in any way. Typically, I do send them over the next day. I
Right,
know
you've
this is
been
important, so we can
Very
get
good
it-
about that.
We can get it over tomorrow on Wednesday for you for the
Yeah.
paper. But you know, if you want any assistance, absolutely, we can help you get
I
it to the
tried
paper
to-
too.
My
Cover
last
that.
day here is Monday, so,
Oh, okay.
and we need to get it to the paper on Monday. So I can't think of any reason why
before
we
Monday.
won't get it over there.
we're going to get it in like,
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
that's fine,
I
Kathy.
will
We're
send that
not
over to you tomorrow.
procrastinating.
Just making sure.
Kathy, I had you covered.
All right, so board, I will make the motion to adopt ordinance 2022-01, making changes to chapter 10 and chapter 12 of the Torch Lake Township zoning ordinance, and have the clerk publish in the Elk Rapids News within 15 days. Do I have a second?
Wait, I'm just looking for our sheet.
Do I need a second?
So Cook, I'll second that motion.
All right. The motion has been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2022-01, making changes to chapter 10 and chapter 12 of the Torch Lake Township zoning ordinance, and have the clerk publish in the Elk Rapids News within 15 days. Any further discussion related to the motion? Hearing none, Kathy, would you conduct a roll call vote, please?
I will. Okay, Alan, you're first.
Yes,
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Kathy says yes, and Bob.
Yes?
So that motion is approved, 5-0.
All right, board, last item.
Was it somewhere else? though?
Let me know when you're ready, Kathy.
It's on the back page, last page. All the way back. Flip it over. Right there.
All right. Item number 7, due to a long-standing commitment by Jason to Wednesday nights, and our steering committee finding Wednesday nights as one of the primary nights to meet, he has asked and requested that he be allowed to step down, which I have accepted. Now, we're going to keep it in the Merchant family because Mary stepped forward and said she would like to be a part of that. She is now serving on the Board of Review, and I think her involvement with the rezoning is an excellent addition for her role. So I'll open up any discussion by board members. Hearing none, I will make the motion to accept the resignation of Jason Merchant from the steering committee related to the rewriting the zoning ordinances and nomination of Mary Merchant appointment to the steering committee. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. The motion has been moved and seconded to accept the resignation of Jason Merchant from the steering committee related to rewriting of the zoning ordinances and nomination of Mary Merchant's appointment to the steering committee. Any further discussion? If not, Kathy, would you have a roll call vote, please?
I will, but where were you reading from, sir?
I've got the revised motion here.
Okay, okay. So Bob, you're first.
Yes?
Alan,
Yes?
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
and Kathy, yes.
All right, board, thank you. That concludes.
It's a zoning rewrite, not a zoning rewrite.
Yeah, that one, he had another
Guys, you
one,
know, as long as I say it right.
whatever.
All right. Board discussion, I'm just going to give a quick update on the item that I raised at the last meeting. I've received a copy of local township's job description for the role of a police officer, as well as Sheriff Bean sent me the description he uses for the sheriff department. I am investigating what requirements the township will need to meet in order to establish a police presence. There are some state requirements, and so there's some additional work to do there. I've also gotten a hold of a couple of financials for 2 townships. So starting to put together what the budget would need and what our mill rate would have to be. So since the ballot wouldn't have to be to the county clerks until sometime before May, I'm going to do some further work and I'll provide another update in February. That takes care of that. There's no information purposes only. We remove that item. So we will move to the final citizen comment. Any citizen comment missed, or
I'm sorry, I didn't put my name on the list.
did you fill out a slip?
No, I did not. That's what I said. I didn't put my name on the list. You want to take me now or not?
I'm not going there.
I go in there. Congratulations, Vice Chairman, County Board. I don't know if you saw that.
There you go.
Wow.
He's the Vice Chairman now. You got a little bit of authority sitting there. We won't let it go to his head. Anyhow, I got a report for you, the board, in regards to HB 5522. And that is currently in the House Administrative Senate Committee. So they should be working on that and having that back to us within the next month. It did pass the House, so now they're doing their negotiations between the 2 committees.
Is that the grants?
The grant, that's one grant. There's
Okay,
actually 3.
all right.
The second one has to do with, it's going to be announced tomorrow by the Senator's office, Senator Wayne Schmidt, and they're looking at a different way of allowing townships and authorities to finance equipment, EMS equipment, fire equipment, et cetera, versus just going for leasing options and so on. So that's going to be announced tomorrow. The last one I got was from Medical Control Authority, and they're another grant that's coming out that I will be working on applying for. Has to do with personnel retention, incentives to townships to either adjust salaries or incentives to provide some kind of financial assistance to townships to keep the market competitive. As you know, there is a severe shortage in Michigan with EMS positions, both paramedics, EMTs, and with the fire service. Detroit went down to 50% responses to EMS calls because they didn't have enough staff. So an average wait in Detroit was about an hour. So we are very, very blessed. And that brings my closing comment. I am very thankful, and I know the staff is very honored to get the 4% increase that you talked about. I think it will help our staff tremendously. It will retain them. I did hear of a position downstate where they're now paying $30 to $35 an hour, but then they don't have the beautiful living that we have up here. So it might be to our advantage. So in that regard, I just want you to be aware that that 4% was a blessing to the team. And I want to thank Bob and the rest of the board for all their efforts to get this through for our team. We are currently pretty well staffed. We're blessed. The last thing is that on the report I gave you, a couple updates, I always put in there blanks for year-to-date runs and year-to-date revenue. Year-to-date revenue is 88,000 now, and the year-to-date runs is 183. So that projects about 210 to 220 for year end in April. That's almost a 60% increase in runs.
It is.
So we had 130 last year. So we're at 183 currently. And we're in the first, we have 3 more months to go.
Is that because we're
We're ALS now,
and so we're going
doing
outside?
mutual aid, right.
Right.
So we're doing a lot of Central Lake and North Mountain Township, a little bit of that. So, yeah, I think that's the big difference.
I don't want to imply that our residents we're picking that many more up, but it's.
Well, we're
counting-
even having an
it's-
increase in our township too. There's been some
Right.
increases here, particularly along the lakefront where there's a lot of seniors living, and that we've been there quite a few times. So, thank you for all your support, and I know that both these gentlemen really appreciate it. That's been a blessing to this whole organization, so thank you.
Nice job, guys.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes citizen comment, board comment. Jason, we'll start with you.
Me first?
Yeah, you've never gone first.
Jairus.
Mr. Jarris, you're looking for a mechanic. What kind of mechanic? Like to work on the plow trucks? Is that in Mansalona or is that in Central Lake?
Yeah, so the classification is the ACT, which is the Antrim County Transportation. But the main work that they were doing was working on emergency vehicles and also Commission on Aging. We have Meals on Wheels in Antrim County.
Okay.
So we had received MMRNA insurance to cover our mechanic to work on government emergency vehicles. That's why they could work on Torch Lake Township's equipment, was because we had been covered by insurance to do that. But the primary thing that they were doing was our transportation vehicles, Meals on Wheels, sheriff's vehicles,
TAA.
yep.
So no road commission trucks or anything like that?
Nope, the road commission actually has their own garage, and we got a couple
Okay.
mechanics there.
And
It's
where-
kind of a little different,
And where
bigger
would,
trucks and a little different
Bel Air.
specialty.
it's in
Bel
Bel Air? Okay.
The ACT building.
And what's the pay? What are the,
Oh, I didn't bring it with me, but I think it was.
It was announced in the paper.
It was announced in the paper.
okay, I can look.
Are you going to apply?
I'm.
No, but I know people.
I'm going, but I'm thinking it was high 60s, but that's just.
And they have benefits too.
Yeah, plus benefits,
Okay.
but it's just going by memory, so don't quote me on that.
All right. Anything else, Jason?
I
You're thinking.
wish Mr. Bean was still here. I'd tell him that I personally know Mr. Pratt, his first year of working in '94, my brother threw a big party and Mr. Pratt was the responding officer.
Jeez. All right, Sharon,
I have none.
Alan,
I have none.
Kathy?
I do have a comment. I gotta get to my note here. I gotta stop and think how I want to phrase this. I have heard of an organization that's out there, and they are on the website, I believe. And so I went to the website address just to see what was going on. And it's the old adage that people can say on the website anything they want, and you can't say if it's true or not true or verify. And it was upsetting to me because there was quite a bit of bashing of Torch Lake Township officials, and myself included. And there was some misinformation on that website. And so I guess my purpose in bringing it up is to just caution people, and that just because you read it somewhere does not mean that it is true. And if you want to take the time to do a little more research, it might be worth your while. It's just hard I think our board does a great job, not just because I'm a board member, but because I honestly think we do the best job that we can do. Maybe others think our best isn't good enough. I think we work fairly well together. And when you read negative comments about your board, it's hurtful. And I didn't like it. So I'm bringing it up as a board member Just to caution people that just because you read it on somebody's website, it doesn't mean it's true. So that's as specific as I will get about that.
Well
Thanks,
said.
Kathy. All right, so you have to be patient with me. I've got about 3 minutes, but since I have the whole board here, I want to read what our timeline is to get this budget done in the time period that we have to. And I'll follow up with an email, but I know sometimes you read the emails and sometimes you don't. So you'll have no excuse for not following it. We have to have that aggressive timeline for the budget due to my upcoming surgery. I will be giving the budget to the board to review on Friday, January 21st. You will receive an email with the Excel spreadsheet, and I'll also put in your mailbox a hard copy so that you'll have both of them. You won't have to print it out at the house. And just come into the office. The budget is broken down into 3 sections. Line items less than $1,500, which amount to about 4% of the dollars. Items between $1,500 and $5,000, and items over $5,000. Now, the items between $1,500 and $5,000 represent only 9% of the budget. So 87% of the budget is over there in the greater than $5,000 line item. So comments related to the first 2 sections, the less than 1,500 and 1,500 to 5,000 need to be communicated to me in writing by January 28th by email.
By January 28th, you said?
Yes.
Or 21st?
28.
Oh, somehow my calendar changed.
For our February 1 meeting, starting at 4:30, we will look at only the items over 5,000. Be sure to come with questions, as I'm not going to go line by line. We just go around in circles. Have your questions ready. If you don't raise a question, we're just moving right through it. I'll move it by sections.
What time is that one, Bob?
That's at 4:30.
4:30.
I'll take all those modifications as well as the comments that you send to me regarding the first 2 segments. I'll have a hard copy and a Excel spreadsheet back to you so that by that, I think it's the February 1st that I will do it. I will get that to you in the 1st, and then our next meeting will be Friday, February 4th at 1 p.m., I believe was the time.
1:30 is what you
1:30?
put in the email.
Yeah, 1:30, and that will be the focus on any items that we still had open that needed to be discussed. So I'm hopeful by that pass, we will be done, and then we'll have a special meeting on the 7th so that we can improve that. I will need the next 2 weeks to prepare the presentation for the community, and we will pass the budget at the February 15th board meeting. Any questions? It's tight, but I see no reason. We went through a very similar process last year, and I think we can streamline it. We did a nice job. It looks like we're going to be pretty close to the budget. We've had a couple surprises, but we're still in pretty good shape. So
Did you mean approval of the budget at the February or the March 15th meeting?
February 15th. But my problem is, since we're doing the salaries, we needed to get the payroll done now. And we'll have then the salary calculation based on those numbers so that we can review them.
Okay.
And at the 15th, we'll approve the budget because I need the time then to put the final pages together for the township to vote on each of the budget segments, each fund.
We'll still have our annual meeting
Yeah.
in March, Alan.
Yeah, that is where we usually would finalize the budget.
No,
It doesn't need to be, though. The
Okay,
annual
right,
meeting.
You're right. Okay, that's fine.
There are some
that's fine.
townships that already got the budgets done
That's
in
good.
January.
Yep, I
know.
understand what you're doing. It's fine.
all right. That ends my comment. I will make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Motion to adjourn has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned at 8:15. If Mr. Spencer had been faster,